the 5 stages of change, analyzing the results of the Are They Ready to Change activity. Let's review the first profile, Anna, who was in the Not Ready to Change stage. Her attitude was, I don't believe I can change. Anna has suffered from binge eating for years. She's tried to change but is feeling discouraged. She's decided that she'll always be a binge eater and is afraid to try changing again. Let's review some of the hallmarks of a person who's in the Not Ready to Change stage. First of all, we saw that the attitude was, I don't believe that I can change. So a person in this stage may believe that change is going to be too hard and complicated for them to attempt. And perhaps they've tried and failed to change in the past. So they're thinking that the past determines what their future is going to be. The second hallmark is that their habit may have become their identity. In Anna's case, she identified herself as a binge eater, so the thought of being anything different just doesn't enter into her mind. She might secretly want to change, but a binge eater is her identity, so it's hard for her to change or even contemplate changing. The third hallmark of a person in this stage is they may be receiving perceived positive benefits from their habit. And you might wonder, well, how can this be positive? Well, if a person's engaged in an addictive behavior, then perhaps other people might be giving them extra focus and extra attention. Perhaps other people feel sorry for them or give them sympathy. And deep down, that person sees themselves as a victim, so they actually secretly enjoy the extra attention, and the thought of changing means that they may not be receiving the attention that they've come to expect from other people, and they don't want to give that up. So that may be a barrier to a person in this stage changing. Now, let's say the person actually really does want to change. Well, for a person that wants to change, then what needs to happen is they need to receive reasons that they can hope that things will get better. So perhaps someone in this stage might review some past successes in changing in other areas that for them to say, well, if I was successful in that area, I can be successful in this one. And then the other thing the person needs is a very strong motivator to change, one that is going to be strong enough to overcome any perceived positive benefits that may be coming from that negative behavior. Susan was in the thinking about change stage, and of course her attitude was, I'm thinking about changing. Susan binge eats when she's in the house alone. Although the behavior bothers her, she hasn't decided if changing is worth it to her. She's listing pros and cons. Let's review some of the hallmarks of the thinking about change stage. Now, as I mentioned, a person who's in this stage, their attitude is, I'm thinking about changing. So the person is weighing the benefit of change versus the effort to change. And sometimes a person might be stuck in this area, or at least in this stage, because it's hard for them to imagine behaving any differently than they do now, or else they don't know how to change, so they're stuck. So a person in this stage needs to clarify what they value in life and then write a vision as to why the change will improve their life. Todd was in the preparing for action stage, and his attitude was, I'm making plans for change. Todd has decided that he is going to change his binge eating habit. He doesn't know how he's going to change, but he's going to try eating mindfully at his next meal and writing down the results. Let's review some hallmarks of the preparing for action stage. The attitude is, I'm making plans for change. So this person is no longer weighing the benefits. They've got a strong enough motivator that tells them, hey, the effort to change is going to be worth it. So they've decided to change. This person in this stage is experimenting with possible solutions. So they're not really sure about an action plan. So they're just trying different things and throwing them at the wall, so to speak, to see what's going to stick. So in order to move forward, a person in this stage needs a formal action plan of small steps that are realistic for them so they can start achieving some small successes. Ruth is in the taking action stage, and her attitude is, I'm taking steps to change. Ruth has been keeping a food journal for a few weeks. She's been successful in preventing binge eating, although she still has setbacks at times. Let's review some of the hallmarks of someone in the taking action stage. Again, the attitude is, I'm taking steps to change. Now, you might wonder what the difference is between a person in the taking action stage is versus someone in the preparation for action stage. Well, a person in this stage is actually working on a specific plan. You might notice that the person in the previous stage, they really didn't have a plan. They were just trying a few different things to see what's going to stick. But this person has actually taken the time to write down their action plan, and they're implementing it. So a person at this stage, they may have mistakes and setbacks, but they're committed to the process. So they're analyzing their mistakes to help themselves or to prevent them from happening again. So they're committed to learning and growing. A person in this stage, to move forward, they're going to really benefit from being part of a support group and building relationships with other people who are living a healthy lifestyle or who are committed to living a healthy lifestyle. Cynthia, maintaining a positive behavior. The attitude at this stage is, I've changed and it's part of my life. Cynthia hasn't binge eaten in years. She sees herself as a healthy, fit person. She exercises regularly, eats healthy food, and manages her stress and emotions in healthy ways. Finally, let's review some hallmarks of the maintaining a positive behavior stage, which is the final stage of change. And the attitude here is, I've changed and it's part of my life. Now, in this stage, the person's identity has changed to that of a fit and healthy person. And the behavior change that they're implementing has become automatic. In the previous stage, where the person is in the taking action stage, they're still having to think really hard about making that change, so it's not automatic just yet. A person in this stage, however, is confident in their ability to maintain the new habit. Now, in order for this person to continue to advance, they need new challenges to prevent boredom, and they need to stay mindful to prevent relapses. But one of the best things that a person in this stage can do to help themselves is to help someone else and encourage them and also become a role model. So there you have it. These are the 5 stages of change. So my challenge to you next is, I want you to review the information in the 5 stages of change, and I want you to think about where you are in terms of changing your binge eating behavior. Now, what I'm going to do in the next lecture is I'm going to provide a document that's going to contain some more information about the 5 stages of change and how you can move forward. And what I want you to do is to review that information, and I want you to use the notes section to write down any ideas or thoughts that you might have as to the stage of change that you are in, because I really want you to be clear before we move forward that you are indeed ready to change. So if you haven't yet identified strong motivators to change, that is going to be very important. If you haven't identified your values, that is homework that you need to do before you move forward in the class, because what I want is for you to be confident in your ability to implement the action plan that we are going to develop together. So that's going to be your homework, and I'll see you in the next lecture.